Wait, that's it! Since I knew the phone number, that meant I could have someone else call it for me. That way, they could take the fall. Dude, what kind of scummy garbage? But that didn't mean I wanted to live in a world where no one existed. If no one else existed, who would pay for my living expenses? Gosh, are you for real? That's what you're worried about right now? As soon as I get back to my base, I'll get my dice so... Ooh! How's it going, everybody? HoodlaMutt here, back with some more Chaos Head Noah. And last time, we had a new student come to class, and it was Kozue, which is interesting. And she apparently seemed to recognize that her and Takumi were, as she says it, the same. Which means probably they both have precognitive powers and she's able to pick up on that somehow. Also, Demon Girl, Sakihara Rimi, she is in our class with us and it freaked Taco out, so he ran up to the roof. Before that happened, though, we actually had a little inside look to, what was it called, Nozomi? Or no... Yeah, I think it was Nozomi, the corporation Nozomi or whatever that is, whatever organization that is. And they were talking about trying to get people's biorhythms in place. And if I remember properly, they seemed like they might be trying to control people, ? Something like that. They were trying to do something to influence people, if I remember right. So we got a little insight into that, a little sneak peek, whatever that meant. But anyway, once Takumi got to the roof, just moving on from that, while he was in class, he got a call, and so when he went up to the roof, he decided to check who called him because he didn't answer while he was in class, and saw that it was from a number he didn't know, and we decided to pick it up, and it was a bunch of sirens, a bunch of like crosswalking sounds and stuff like that. And that's really it. We don't really know much more other than that. So now we're here. So let's just get back into this, I guess. Shall we? Nishijo Takumi's alma mater, Kitazawa Second Elementary School, was about a 5-minute walk from the private train station. Ban Yasuji had attempted to contact Takumi's elementary school teacher over the phone, only to be told that they had unfortunately passed away. Okay, so wait a minute. So we're in Ban's perspective now, which is interesting, but also, okay, I just misread that. So, okay, we're just in Bond's perspective. Never mind. Okay, cool. Left with no other choice, Bond had decided to set up a meeting to speak with the person who had answered the phone instead. The head teacher, Kamio. Not long after, he had arrived at the school together with his partner. As it was a Saturday, the school gate was closed. The two detectives, Ban and Sua, stopped in front of it and turned their attention toward the school building. The white walls of the school's exterior had been painted with a brightly colored, eye-catching mural. Due to his complete lack of knowledge on paintings or any other kind of fine art, Ban had no idea what it signified, but the way the spiral-shaped mural transitioned vertically into an array of 7 different colors reminded him of a rainbow. As Ban stared at the mural, cooling himself with his handheld fan, his partner, Sua, pushed the intercom button next to the school gate. Okay. Suddenly, Ban looked around. He had a feeling that someone was watching him. There was a gaze that seemed to follow him everywhere, leaving him quite discomfited. Wait a minute, is he getting the gaze too? Wait a minute, what? There's no way someone's actually watching him, right? Is he getting the God's gaze thing too? Is that why he understands? Like, did he believe Takumi because he's been experiencing some weird stuff too? Does he have precognitive powers or whatever? Yo, wait, what? Do I really look that cool? He attempted to strike a casual pose, one that aimed to be dandy and refined. Sir, what's up with the weird pose? They said there's a side entrance by the rear gate, so they want us to come around that way. Bon retired from his pose with a sigh and headed toward the back of the building. The staff room was easy to find. As soon as they entered through the side door, all they had to do was travel down the rear entrance hallway and turn at a single corridor to arrive at the room. There was, of course, no sign of children in the school, although it was likely a mere illusion created by the smooth linoleum floor. The two detectives felt far colder inside the building than they had outside. There were 3 teachers in the staff room. Upon seeing the 2 detectives enter the room, one of the 3 stood up and bowed. The man who stood up was named Kamio. His mostly white hair was parted to the side, and he greeted the 2 of them with a gentle smile. Bon and Suwa showed their police badges to him almost simultaneously, returned his greeting briefly, then immediately approached the topic at hand. It was Suwa's job to ask the questions. We'd like you to tell us about one of your graduates, Nishijo Takumi-kun. I do indeed remember him. I wasn't a teacher of his myself, however, so I cannot provide you with much detail. Is that all right? Suwa nodded, taking out his notebook and preparing to write everything down. What kind of kid was Nishijo-kun? I remember hearing that he was quite the difficult one. They said he was special. Interesting. They even noticed, I wonder, well, okay, I guess special could be taken 2 different ways, but I wonder if they noticed his precognitive abilities or something. They said he was difficult, though, so maybe it was because he didn't talk, right? What do you mean? Well, to be proper, he had a disease that would make it difficult for him to study with his fellow students. Could you be more specific? I don't know if I am able to say as much. Would you be willing to ask his family or doctor? Schools had recently begun adopting this approach, where they would avoid any issues that may prove difficult to them. They refused to take part in anything that might earn them complaints from parents or any other parties. Such practices made it incredibly difficult for the police to do their jobs. How did his homeroom teacher pass away? There was an accident. While he was taking his class on a field trip, the road their bus was traveling on suddenly collapsed underneath them. Oh, that's who they were talking about. Oh, right! Yeah, I didn't even pick up on that. Okay. Interesting. Oh, I remember that. I saw it on the news. All of the children survived, sustaining only minor injuries. But it's such a terrible shame that we lost Mr. Saito. He was the sole victim of the accident. Was Nishijo-kun involved in this accident as well? In response to Bon's question, Kamio shook his head lightly. The boy was absent that day and was not present on the bus. Why was he absent? I seem to recall hearing something about his illness having worsened. Bond, too, had a faint recollection of the accident. For multiple days following the incident, in the short glimpses Bond caught of the news, he would always see the media swarming the house of the sole boy who had not been involved in it. It was a truly sad accident. For some reason, while Cameo was repeating himself, he placed a strong emphasis on the word accident. Okay. Did he know? Does he know something? What did that mean? I'd started talking with Grim a lot more before booting up ESO recently, to the point where it was becoming almost like a ritual. It never really mattered what we talked about. We'd trade interesting or funny @channel threads, go off about porny crap, wreck each other new comics, talk about the anime from the day before, or other various dumb stuff. Funnily enough, we didn't actually talk about ESO very much, but that was just because we already talked a lot about it while we were playing it. Oh, okay. I always forget I gotta click. Has there been some weird prank going around recently? Not a lot to go off of. Not a lot to go off there. Deets, please. I don't know. I just heard about it from someone I know. Don't know if it's actually a fad or some crap. It's like there's a recording of a weird sound and you get that as a voicemail or something. Oh, he's just okay. He must be trying to see if there's something like that or not. But right? Because I don't recall them ever saying something like that was a thing. What, like a Moe voice whispering sweet nothings to you? Lol. The heck, Lamau? What Idoge is that from? I mean, wouldn't you rather them just do that to you in person, lol? No one cares now whose freaking eyes are those eyes. Yeah, it's just being used. He's even using it now. Well. Grim was still saying that. Thanks to that, I started to feel awful pretty much immediately. Not to mention, he was talking really weird in chat, to the point where it felt fairly forced, like he was trying way too hard to be funny by shoving those words in. Or, at the very least, I didn't find it funny. In fact, it felt more cringy than anything. Yeah, I feel you. But I couldn't let myself get angry with him until I'd gotten my info about the prank, so I was forced to put up with it. Okay, so it's like the sounds of a wild otaku freak fapping then? Well. Okay, that's too far. But in all seriousness, they play You May Pass. You May Pass? What, like the song? The one that plays at crosswalks and crap? Yeah, that one. And then while it's playing, it'll get cut off halfway and swap to a buzzer-like sound. Apparently the volume is ear rape tier. So yeah, ever heard of a prank like that? That's the kind of thing you'd find floating around @channel, right? Yesterday, I'd gotten a voicemail with a mysterious buzzer sound. I had no idea who'd sent it, and the contents unsettled me for some reason, which was why I decided to try and ask Grim if he knew about it. If it was just a simple prank, I could just forget about it. Huh? Grim wasn't responding. Why was he being silent? Hello? Did you die? Still no response. Grim didn't usually fall asleep like this. In fact, this was the first time it ever happened. If he actually had fallen asleep, then I guess I'd just log off. We'd meet up again later in ESO anyway, so I could just bring it up again then. But the second I thought that, and began to get up from my chair. Kept you waiting, huh? I was sifting through @channel. Was looking for stuff about your prank. Oh, so that's why he'd disappeared. But that meant that even the oh-so-well-informed Grim hadn't known about the prank. Interesting. But no matter how many threads or boards, or I don't know what WE is, I searched, I found nothing. That could be Wiki Encyclopedia, maybe. Not on @channel, nor anywhere on the net. So would that mean that whoever had pulled that prank had some sort of personal grudge against me? I was still curious about the true identity of the caller, but I wasn't brave enough to call them back. Wait, that's it! Since I knew the phone number, that meant I could have someone else call it for me. That way, they could take the fall. Dude, what kind of scummy garbage? What is that? The best person for the job would be either Nanami or Miss Mikun. Wait, Miss Mikun may have been brainwashed by the demon girl, so that wouldn't work. As for Nanami, however, I was sure I'd have no trouble asking her to do it. She'd probably get ticked at me afterward, but who gives a crap? Heck, if anything, it'd be good for her to suffer the tortures of society every once in a while. Bro, what do you mean? She's your sister. I thanked Grim for his help, promised that I'd meet back up with him on ESO in a few hours, and closed the chat. Right as I did so, I felt my stomach growl. Man, I was hungry. Did I have any cup ramen stocked anywhere? I tried looking around for a bit, but I couldn't find any. Reluctantly, I decided to head to the convenience store to buy some. Okay. Who are we gonna run into? Oh, it's nighttime, oh frick. The sun was already setting. I wanted to avoid going out late at night as much as possible, but every time I did recently, nothing good ever came of it. Is he gonna like run into another murder or something? I unconsciously started walking faster, hurrying down the road toward the convenience store. Okay. Today was a Saturday, so I'd expected to run across a ton of pedestrians, but I hadn't encountered a single one so far. It's like when he ran into the demon girl the first time, right? When he ran into Psychodemi or whatever. Oh no. No one's around. I wonder if he's going to be like, I can't hear anything either. If he does, that means he's back in whatever dimension this is or whatever phenomenon that is. All of the stores that should have been open were closed, which kind of weirded me out. Maybe I was just confused. Like, maybe I had thought it was 7 p.m. when it was actually 2 a.m. Yeah, like that ever happened. But even so, it was way too quiet. Yup, there it is. Oh no. Oh frick, he's in this other world again. What does it mean? What's gonna happen, dude? I could barely hear any of the normal city noises you'd expect. The aura the city was giving off was different than usual. I arrived at the Shinsen Station convenience store. It was right in front of the train station, and yet there wasn't a single person here either. I was starting to get more and more freaked out. The sudden disappearance of something I'd taken for granted was enough to make me feel like I'd been transported to a completely different world. Which is what I've been saying, right? Alternate reality. That's what it feels like. On a normal day, I would always avoid running into or talking to other people. But all I wanted right now was just to see another person's face. I burst inside the convenience store. There has to be someone working here, I thought to myself as I looked around the store. Oh no. Oh no. There's no one here. Okay, so we have a choice. Should I freak out? It feels like the proper opportunity to freak out, you know what I mean? It seems like it'd be normal to click red. And even though like red is usually always negative, there has to be like the correct time to use it, right? So this feels like similar to the hospital one where he felt like things were kind of creepy and weird and not good potentially. That felt like a time at least to try it, even though, you know, but it seemed like it would be potentially more of a negative thing than not, just like this one is, you know what I mean? So do I have him stay neutral or do I do a red one? Because I don't think this is a scenario for the green one, right? That I don't think, because my guess is if I click the green one, he's going to be like, I have the whole world to myself. Everything here is awesome and great, you know? Which I guess I could do, right? There's no girls here, so surely he won't think of anything lewd, right? So it'll be fine. But also, it feels like correct to click the red button. You know what I mean? I feel like I should do that. I think I'm going to click the red button. It just feels right, you know what I mean? There were no customers, nor any employees. There's no way. This couldn't be happening. An employee had to be in the back. If I were to just bring something up to the register, they should come out right after. So, I decided to leisurely grab a boxed lunch, pretend to flip through a manga magazine while I was at it, and then come up to the counter and set the box down. Uh-oh. Yup, he's gonna see something he didn't want to see. Uh-oh. No one came out. For some reason, I had a bad feeling about this. This wasn't normal. Maybe I'd somehow managed to stumble into something completely unreal. Oh, yup, there it is! He fell into the back rooms, bro. Oh no. While still standing in front of the counter, I casually looked outside the store. So what I'm hoping is this will be like a good thing. It'll be like a sobering thing, right? Like he'll understand something's going on, because he didn't understand something was going on when he first saw Rimi kill that guy, right? So I'm hoping this time, since I'm like trying to keep him in this, that he'll like be like, what's going on? And figure things out. That was kind of my mentality for clicking the red button, so we'll see. Beyond the automatic glass doors was a street where not a single person was walking. Then, I saw a silhouette hiding in the shadows of the apartment complex across the street. The form hid itself right after I saw it, but I had already seen it, clearly. In the silhouette's hand was an object that resembled a long black cylinder. Was that a sniper rifle? Wait, what? Did that mean that the silhouette was a member of the riot police? Or maybe the SAT? That was why I couldn't see any customers or employees. The police had blocked off the area. But why the heck would they do that? Having thought that, I started freaking out. I quickly looked around the store, then ducked behind a shelf. Could this be? Was there a police standoff happening right now at this very store? A criminal who had taken the store employee hostage might be barricading himself in the back. And that criminal might be the true new-gen culprit. Oh, frick. I sank down to the floor and cradled my head in my hands. Why had I let myself go somewhere so dangerous? Wait, no. This wasn't my fault. The police were the police. If they were blocking off the area, then they should have stopped me before I was into the convenience store. It was their fault. Was there any way I could escape? If I stayed here, they'd take me hostage too. Fortunately, I hadn't run into the culprit yet. If he was hiding in the back room, I should get out now while I still can. I was so scared. My knees felt like they were about to give out. It was extremely difficult to even stay upright. Even so, I kept myself low to the ground and slowly shuffled toward the automatic doors. "This is a message for the perp." It began with a shout so cliché you wouldn't even hear it on modern-day detective shows. From outside the store, a policeman started shouting through a megaphone. It startled me so bad that I hid back behind the shelf again. "We have you completely surrounded. Release the hostages and come out with your hands up." What an incredibly stereotypical way to call out to them. Didn't they have a negotiator or something? It's him, isn't it? He's the one that they're after. "You have 30 seconds! 30 seconds? That was practically nothing! "You will surrender before then. If not, we will take forceful action." What? They wanted to come in by force? Were they trying to put the hostages in danger? If you did that in modern-day Japan, the public and mass media would eat you alive! What the heck were the police thinking? I stayed crouched down on the floor and held my breath. My heart was pounding insanely fast. It felt like my chest was about to burst. If the police were going to force their way into the store, the whole place would become a war zone, and I'd be caught right in the crossfire whether I wanted to or not. I might get hit by a stray bullet and die right there. Please, no. I couldn't see what the criminal was doing. The entire store was silent. I was getting angry. What the heck was the criminal doing? Hurry up and surrender already! Otherwise, I'd get caught up in all this too! I gingerly peeked out from behind the shelf and looked outside once more. And what I saw shocked me to my core. There were several SAT snipers in plain view of me, all of which were training their sniper rifles right at the store. I frantically jerked my head back behind cover. The police were going to shoot the criminal to death. Would they be able to get away with something like that in Japan? I couldn't believe it. "You have 10 seconds! This couldn't be happening. Give me a break." My eyes darted around the room restlessly, until suddenly, they settled on my hand. What? He has a gun, doesn't he? For some reason, in my hand was a knife. Oh no! And the blade was soaked in red. It was blood. What? I was confused. How long had I had this knife in my hand? Where'd I even get it? I heard someone groaning close by. An employee was lying on the floor. He was a bleary-looking guy, likely a college student. His hands were tied behind his back, and his mouth was covered with duct tape. He was looking at me. His eyes were stricken with fear. Why are you looking at me? Don't look at me like that. You're looking at me like I'm a criminal. Wait. Was I the criminal? No, it wasn't me. I hadn't done anything. Time's up! We will now open fire! This wasn't happening. Snipers! Ready? Aim! This wasn't happening! Fire! This wasn't happening! Oh, frick! Yo! Yeah. The police would never do that. Like, come on. Fire! Really? It wasn't like a standoff was a battle straight out of the Sengoku period or something. Every one of these I don't understand. I don't get the meaning behind any of them, so. Alright, well, I keep treating them like they're doing something, but they just never seem to really be anything. It's just something random, it seems like every time. Several minutes had passed while I was having my delusion. There was still no sign of any employees. I wanted to believe that the cashier was just taking a nap, so I waited for another 5 minutes. So that didn't solve anything, so alright, let's see where this goes, I guess. But while I waited, no employee showed up, nor did any customers enter the store. There wasn't even as much as a sound. After enough time had passed, I started feeling scared. So I put the boxed lunch back on the shelf and left the store. Huh. I opted to go to the railroad crossing located right next to the station. From there, I'd be able to see the Shinsen station platform. There was no way a place like that would be deserted, right? That was what I hoped, but there was no one there. I waited for a train to come. Once that happened, there would be a bunch of passengers that would get off. But even if no one got off, I'd definitely see people riding the train as it passed in front of me. Even after 10 minutes, a train still hadn't come. Oh boy. I tried to convince myself that there must have been an accident or something that messed with the schedule, but there was no sign of any passengers on the platform. It was then that I finally realized the gravity of the situation. This was weird. This was really, really weird. That's it. I'll go to Shibuya Station. There absolutely had to be people there. No doubt about it. There were people in front of Shibuya Station 24/7 without fail. I broke into a run without thinking. Oh boy. Oh boy. I ran as hard as I could. I didn't want to stop even if I was out of breath. It was probably the first time in my life that I'd ever run so hard. As I ran, I hoped that this was just some sick dream I was having. But I knew it wasn't. My heart and lungs felt like they were about to explode. The pain was far beyond what you could feel in a dream. It surprised me how unbelievably fast I was breathing. And yet, no matter how much I inhaled, the pain refused to go away. As I kept running down Dogenzaka, I finally saw 107. By the time I did, my legs were already shaking. My body felt extremely heavy. Even so, I forced my feet to keep moving. I no longer had it in me to pay attention to my surroundings. The entirety of my consciousness was focused on Scramble Crossing, the symbol of Shibuya. Almost there. Just a little bit further. The second I passed 10-7, it'd be right there. The largest in Japan. It was the place where the largest number of people in Japan came together all at once. That was why I had to get to Scramble. To Scramble. He's just gonna be standing there. Yep. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. He's stuck here. Empty. That was the state of Shibuya Station, which I could see from the Y junction crossing in front of 10-7. A world without sound. A world that felt dead. A place which had always been flooded with overwhelming sound, now ruled by silence. The only thing I could hear was the sound of my own heavy breathing. This can't. I fell to my knees in the middle of the large street. I couldn't walk another step. The shock had stolen every last ounce of strength from my body. This is Shibuya, right? There was no one to my left, to my right, in front of me, behind me. There was no one anywhere. Even though 7 p.m. on a Saturday night was when Shibuya should have been the most crowded. What was going on? This wasn't happening. This couldn't be happening! I closed my eyes and cradled my head. This was a dream. An illusion. This couldn't be reality. Yes, it was true that I wanted to live a quiet and peaceful life all by myself. I didn't want anyone to interfere with me, and I didn't want to get involved in anything. But that didn't mean I wanted to live in a world where no one existed. If no one else existed, who would pay for my living expenses? Gosh, are you for real? That's what you're worried about right now? If no one else existed, who would make boxed lunches for me to eat? If no one else existed, who would play ESO with me? If no one else existed... A sound. I'd heard a sound. It hadn't come from me. It'd been from someone else. It's crazy how narcissistic he really is, you know? He's very, very just selfish, really, ultimately. He's just very prideful, very selfish, very narcissistic. He's the center of his world. I mean, assuming that he's saying that without any self-awareness. I like, that seemed like a moment of genuineness, you know what I mean? Like, he really felt that in that moment. So, like, I don't think he was saying that tongue-in-cheek. So, dang. Someone was here. Someone other than me was nearby. I felt like I had been saved. As I'd thought, it was just a coincidence. It only appeared like there was no one here. In truth, no one had disappeared. I wasn't the only one left in the world. I was so relieved that I almost started crying. I turned my gaze toward the sound. What the frick? It was a boy in a wheelchair. A short distance away from me, though still in the middle of the intersection, he sat quietly in place. I couldn't quite figure out how old he was. If I had to guess from his size alone, I'd say he looked like he was in elementary school. Is it gonna be him but younger? Yo. He was wearing his hat so low that I couldn't see his expression very well. But... We meet at last. I could hear the boy's voice extremely clearly. It felt like he was whispering directly into my ear, which made me turn around. Of course, there was no one there. Excuse me, sir. Do you know what's going on here? Even though he was younger than me, I ended up speaking formally to him. Why? Is there no one here? Would you happen to know the reason why? Yes, I know why. Despite how young his voice sounded, there was nothing childish about it. But more importantly, did you receive my message? Message? What message? I had no idea what he was talking about. Who are you? The boy moved his wheelchair forward slightly. The wheelchair was old, and it made a rusty sound as it came closer to me. Dude, this is like, what is going on? Yo. Whose eyes are those eyes? Oh, he's been sending that! What? That he's been sending that message to us. Wait, we gotta see him. We gotta see who this kid is. Yes? I was confused. Why had he murmured, "Whose eyes are those eyes" just now? Who was he? You must awaken. Quickly. Because if you don't, many more people are going to die. Yo, what? What the heck are you? I rubbed my eyes to wipe away my tears, and because of that, I was finally able to get a clear look at the boy's face. Ew! The boy wasn't a boy. His skin was covered with wrinkles like an old man. His cheeks were hollow. His eye sockets had sunken in to an abnormal extent. His pupils were cloudy. He had no eyebrows. And his body was as small as a child's. I am Shogun. Whoa! Wait, what? He's Shogun. Wait, but no, we typed the Shogun, didn't we? This has gotta be him, right? This has gotta be him when he's younger, but he, like, aged because of some reason. So this has got to be Takumi, but when he's like younger, but like hyper aged, like he aged really fast while being young. That's what I'm thinking's going on. And he's in the wheelchair because of the mental illness they thought he had or whatever, but it was his precognitive powers or something, right? Dude, what the frick? So I don't understand, bro. We saw ourselves typing that, like it was Takumi who got up, but he was like a zombie and he was typing his show. Oh, but that was him, right? So maybe it was him inside his head. This kid, if it actually is Takumi, this super old kid, he must be Takumi, but like another, like maybe not another version, but like another personality of his, or like his older self or something. And he takes control of him to type as Shogun, right? Does that make sense? He takes control of Takumi to type his Shogun and then goes back to sleep and then Takumi wakes up? Is that what's going on? I don't freaking know, dude. What is this? For a moment, I forgot how to breathe. My head felt like it'd been struck by a hammer. The ground was shaking violently. No, my body was falling over. I shot my hands out onto the asphalt to keep myself upright. What? What did he just said? Shogun. He was... Shogun? Don't forget. You mustn't run away. I lifted up my head and watched as Shogun, who had already turned his back to me, left Scramble Crossing. His wheelchair was getting farther and farther away, making a creaking sound as it moved. The thought of chasing after him and pressing him for answers didn't even cross my mind. I didn't think of running up and punching him in the face for dragging me into this either. I wasn't even remotely a confrontational person. My head started to hurt. The area around my temples throbbed with pain. Still cowering on the spot, I tried to endure it. Taku. In the world without sound, a discordant noise began to spread, an all-encompassing static. Whose voice was that? Don't look at me. Taku. What had previously been just a random, discordant mess of garbled static gradually turned into a real voice. Someone gently placed a hand on my shoulder. You're in the way, moron! What the heck's your problem? Kids these days. Could it be some kind of performance? Taku. While still trying to endure the pain of my headache, I looked up. I had a feeling it was Rimi. The demon girl, Rimi, was peering at my face as she stood over me. Eyes that were clear and full of life. Eyes that looked at me, and only me. Again. This girl had appeared out of nowhere once again. Can you walk? Here. She wrapped her hand under my arm and tried to make me stand up. I shrieked and shook her off. I came to my senses and looked around. I was still in the middle of the street, but it wasn't deserted anymore. There were people around me in every direction, walking every which way without paying me any mind. Taku. Rimi, with a face that looked like she was about to cry, reached out to me once more. Listen to me, Taku. Stay back! When I screamed, the throbbing in my head transformed into an intense stabbing pain. Even so, I ignored it, scrambling back on all fours to try and get away from Rimi. It was you, wasn't it? That was your delusion. And you made me see it. Controlling my mind. Attacking my psyche. You freaking demon. I'm gonna kill the likes of you with my sword. As soon as I get back to my base, I'll get my dice. Ooh! An abrupt impact ran through my cheek. It stung with pain, and it began to heat up. She'd slapped me. This is interesting. So, okay. If Shogun really is his inner head, right? Like it's like his younger self, but like in the back of his mind, right? Like, that might explain why he's having this like memory lapses and stuff, right? Because he's taking control for a second then. But like, why is he showing him that like alternate reality and like I like nothing? I can't make sense of anything, right? Like, because we don't have enough information still. I can't really even make a like too big of a leap in logic, really. So like, bro, this is kind of wild. Okay. She was going to kill me once and for all. Scurrying back on all fours, I tried as hard as I could to escape with my life. But Rimi quickly grabbed my hand. With strength I never thought a girl could have, she pulled me toward her. Ooh. Ah! And embraced me. Her soft form gently enveloped my own. It was so warm. I could smell a tiny hint of sweat. Her silky hair tickled the tip of my nose. Pull yourself together. With such an anticlimax, my whole body felt like it was about to give out. It's not safe for you to stay here. How did she know we were there, by the way? You know what I mean? So, obviously she must have precognitive powers, but she tracked us down. So something's going on. Like, her and the other girls, I think, are aware of something, or the other ones, if not her, obviously, but, like, I think she's also in on it, too. I just think she's probably handling it differently, right? They understand something we don't understand, and they're trying to, like, wake us up, maybe, or I guess the other ones aren't trying to wake us up. She seems to kind of, sort of, I don't know if she actually is or not, but, like, there seems to be something like that, and the other ones are just, like, talking like the precognitive thing is just normal, you know? Like, do you have a die sword? And, you know, you can see it, right? And, you know, you're the same as me and all that other crap, right? So, the only one so far that has been, like, seemingly normal, and it's probably because she's going through the same types of things as us, is Yua. Because she was trying to figure out what was going on, right? But everybody else has been kind of, like, weird so far. Well, other than, like, Nanami, right? Nanami and, like, Miss Mikun, they seem to be kind of just bystanders in this whole thing so far. So far. But I wonder if the bangle we gave to, or that Nanami took, is going to come into play. Like, she's going to understand stuff that we understand because of that, because it's tied to the die sword or something, maybe? I don't know. Anyway. Her voice was slightly shaky. I couldn't tell if she was crying or not. Because the light's turning red. I was so confused. Was she not going to kill me? Why was she helping me? The hallucination from before, where all of the people of Shibuya disappeared. It wasn't something she'd forced me to see? When I felt such a kind, gentle warmth. When she'd embraced me so innocently. It shook everything I had believed up until that point. Could it be that Sakihara Rimi wasn't actually a demon at all? Or was it foolish to believe that? What if this was just a cunning way to deceive me? Regardless, one thing was for sure. With Rimi hugging me, I felt an incredible sense of relief. I had no idea what to call such a strange sensation. Upon letting go of me, Rimi put her face between her hands, then stared at me once again. Her eyes were slightly red. Please, Taku. Come with me. Okay? For some reason, I nodded. We were standing still, alone in the middle of the empty intersection. A number of people on the sidewalk, waiting for the pedestrian signal to change, were watching us closely. We could hear a few people laughing here and there. Many cars had their headlights trained on us and were starting to honk their horns. Rimi grabbed my hand tightly and started running toward the sidewalk. She pulled me along with her, and I followed. Yo, what the frick, bro? With countless horns blaring at us, we made it to the sidewalk. Rimi breathed a sigh of relief and stopped. My hand was still in hers. Just being held in this way made my heart feel more and more at ease. I wanted to submit myself to this feeling. I wanted to stay like this forever. Demi turned back in my direction. I'm glad you're okay. She smiled an incredibly happy smile. I didn't know whether it was real, an act, or what exactly it was. But let go. Because I had been so hostile to her until now. Because I had thought of her as a demon until now. If I let her win me over like this, I felt like I'd cease being myself. Sorry. She quickly let go of my hand. Anyway, you really gave me a scare. You were all huddled up in the middle of the road. I had no idea what I was going to do once the light turned red. I turned my back to Demi as she started talking cheerfully. I walked off, pushing my way through the crowd of people. I'm going home. Aw. Oh, okay. Then I'll walk back with you. I know you're not feeling too hot. Her voice chased me from behind, but I shook my head in refusal. Taku? The cheerfulness from before had vanished from her voice. I felt terrible, considering how much she had done to help me. So thank you. Barely, just barely, managed to squeeze out those words.